There is a house. It's worth $5 million, and no one will go near it. Not the neighbors, not the city officials, not even the police. In fact, if you call the local precinct and ask about Unit F2, they hang up every single time. There is no case number. There is no file. There's only a red stamp on a folder that most officers have never seen and hope they never will. It doesn't say closed. It doesn't say unsolved. It says 2 words: off limits. Tonight, we go inside. You're listening to the final knock, and I need you to do one thing before we continue. Don't look behind you. Anna, Nagar, one of the most expensive zip codes in a city of 11 million people. Every square foot of land here costs more than most people earn in a year. And right in the middle of it, a $5 million mansion, rotting, quietly, for over 30 years. The garden has been swallowed by weeds. The iron gates are welded shut with rust. The windows on the upper floor are dark, except for one. Neighbors say that window has never gone completely dark. Not in 30 years, not once. To the tax office, Unit F2 is listed as a legal void, a property that exists on paper, but doesn't seem to exist in reality. To the city, it's an anomaly they stopped trying to explain. But to the people who live on that street, it's something else entirely. They call it the tomb, and they teach their children one rule from the day they can walk. You don't look at that window. You don't stop in front of those goats. And you never, ever knock on that door. In the early 90s, Unit F2 was the kind of home people pointed at with envy. A high-ranking doctor, his lawyer wife, 2 brilliant sons. The kind of family that makes other families feel like they're doing something wrong. Custom-built doors, hand-carved furniture, a dining table that seated 12. From the outside, it was perfect. But the neighbors started noticing something. Not anything dramatic, just a light. A faint, rhythmic flickering from the upper floor, night after night. The same window, the same rhythm, like something pulsing. Then the silence came. 7 days. No one in, no one out, no movement, no sound. Just that window, still flickering. On the 7th day, the smell reached the street. The kind of smell that doesn't need an explanation. The kind that makes your stomach understand something before your mind is ready to. Authorities broke the custom-made locks and walked into the dining room. The family was there, all 4 of them, seated at the table, a half-eaten meal in front of each of them. The food was still steaming. The coroner's report confirmed they had been dead for at least 72 hours. The food was hot. The family was not. So I'll ask you the same question the lead detective asked when he walked out of that house and never went back. Who was cooking? But the food wasn't what broke the officers. It was the mirrors. Every single reflective surface in that house, every mirror, every window, every piece of polished silverware on that dining table, wrapped in heavy black cloth, tied tight, with a kind of care that takes time, that takes intention, that takes someone who knew exactly what they were doing. Investigators initially assumed it was a mourning ritual. Some cultures cover mirrors when someone dies, but no one had died yet, not officially. The family covered those mirrors before they sat down for that final meal. The leading theory wasn't suicide. It wasn't a home invasion. It was a ritual, a deliberate, planned ritual, to make sure that once they crossed over, they couldn't find their way back. Or to make sure that whatever was already in that house couldn't follow them out. Think about that. They weren't afraid of dying. They were afraid of what would happen after. They covered every mirror, so that nothing could see its own reflection, so that nothing could find the door. The question is, did it work? What I'm about to tell you was never released to the press. It came from a retired officer, 22 years on the force, a man who had seen crime scenes that would make most people collapse. He agreed to speak on the condition that his name would never be used. He was assigned to guard the evidence inside Unit F2. Second night after the bodies were removed, he was alone. Standard procedure at exactly 3:14 a.m. The heavy wooden door of the elder son's bedroom began to move. Not a rattle, not the kind of sound an old house makes when the wind shifts. This was deliberate. A violent, rhythmic pounding from the inside. Knock, knock, knock. The door was bolted from the outside. The officer drew his weapon. He shouted. The pounding stopped. And then, a voice came through the wood. Wet, raspy, like something speaking through a throat that wasn't built for it. It said, "Father said we aren't allowed to see the light yet. Are you the light?" The officer didn't open the door. He didn't investigate. He walked out of that house, drove to the precinct, placed his badge on the desk, and never went back. He said in the interview, and I want you to hear this clearly. He said the most terrifying part wasn't the voice, it was the pause before it. The silence after the knocking stopped. The kind of silence that tells you something is listening, deciding. That was the 90s. You might think that whatever was in Unit F2 had settled, had gone quiet, had moved on. It hasn't. Last year, a food delivery rider received an order. The address, Unit F2, Nagar. He didn't think much of it. Just another delivery. He pulled up to the rusted gates. GPS confirmed he was at the exact location. He called the customer number. The line picked up. No voice, no breathing, just a sound. Heavy, metallic, rhythmic, like something enormous. Slowly inhaling. He was about to hang up when the gate moved. The gate that had been locked for 30 years opened. 2 inches, just 2, and a woman's voice drifted out from the dark porch. Soft, almost polite. It said, "The door is open. Just leave it on the kitchen table." He looked up at the house. Second floor window. A face. Pale. Still. A young man. Eyes wide and completely unblinking. Skin the color of ash. The rider dropped the bag. He got on his bike and he rode. He didn't stop until he was 6 blocks away. When he checked his phone, the call log showed the call lasted 66 minutes. He had been at that gate for less than 2. 66 minutes of that sound, that metallic breathing, playing into his ear, while he stood there thinking it had only been seconds. And here is the detail that keeps me awake. When investigators later checked the order history, no account had placed that delivery. The number that called him back did not exist. It had never existed. Unit F2 doesn't just affect the people who get close to it, it affects the technology around it. Open Google Maps right now. Search for Nagar, Chennai. Navigate to the coordinates of Unit F2. Try Street View. Go ahead. I'll wait. What you'll find is static. A gray, pixelated void where the house should be. As if the algorithm itself hit something it couldn't process, couldn't render, couldn't make sense of. People have reported this for years. Google has updated Street View across that entire neighborhood multiple times. Every surrounding house renders perfectly. Unit F2 stays dark, a dead frequency, a blind spot in the system, as if the house is actively refusing to be seen. And here's what I want you to think about. We live in a world where satellites photograph every inch of this planet, where algorithms map every doorstep and driveway, where nothing is supposed to be hidden anymore. And yet, there is a $5 million mansion in one of the most documented cities on Earth that doesn't exist on the map, that the police won't enter, that the neighbors won't look at. That technology itself seems to reject. What is so powerful that it can erase itself from the world? Unit F2 still stands today. The weeds have consumed the garden. The rust has consumed the gates. And whatever is inside has consumed the silence of an entire street. Neighbors stopped filing reports years ago, not because nothing happens, but because they understood something that took them a long time to accept. Some things don't want to be reported. Some things don't want to be investigated. Some things just want to be left alone. And the moment you start asking questions, you stop being an observer. You become something else. You become a variable. You've been listening to this for the last 10 minutes. You've heard the officer's testimony. You've heard the rider's account. You've thought about those mirrors, about that steaming food, about that voice through the door. And now I need to tell you something about psychological dread. It doesn't stay in the story. It follows you out. So if you're listening to this alone, if the room feels slightly colder than it did 10 minutes ago, if there is a door in your home that you haven't checked recently, don't. Not tonight. Because the final knock isn't just a story, it's a frequency. And now that you've heard it, it's heard you too. Stay safe if you can. This was the final knock. If this found you, you already know what to do. Subscribe, because next time we go somewhere they told us never to look, and this time something is already waiting.